Hi there. So instead of figurative language, I'm going to focus on a literary device today, and that's rhyme. We all know rhymes. We hear songs. We hear, we've read poems. We know rhyme, words that sound the same, right? So there are types of rhyme. There are single rhymes where the same stress is on the last syllable. So book, nook, cook, out, look, unhook. So it's the last syllable, even if it's like a four-syllable word, if it's the last syllable that rhymes, it's a single rhyme. Okay, double is that same stress on the second to last syllable. So navigator, waiter, conviction, prediction. So this is a four-syllable word, but the stress is on the next to the last syllable. So navigator, waiter. Okay, so it's the next to the last syllable there. Conviction, prediction. That's where your stress is. That's where the important part of the word is. So navigator, waiter, conviction, prediction, as opposed to conviction or prediction. Okay. And then a dactylic is the same stress on the third from last. So terrible, wearable, shareable. So it has to have at least three syllables, and it's the third from last. So a and bull are two syllables. There's a and bull, and this is the third syllable before that. So one, two, three. That third syllable is where you put the stress. So that's dactylic. Do you need to know these types of rhymes for everything that you're doing? No, that's not necessarily the most important thing. But when you're doing an analysis of a poem or a piece of literature and you want to discuss the rhyme, it's good to say the author uses double rhyme in these areas, especially going back to that parallel structure thing. If they're continually using not only parallel structure but rhyme, you want to kind of be able to identify that. There are other types of rhyme that are like imperfect or near. So the same sounds, but the stress is on a different syllable. And I'll show you some examples in a moment. Identical are homophones. These are words that sound the same but don't look the same. So way, and way, your and your, there, and there, male, male, hour. They're not exactly true rhymes because they're basically the same pronunciation. Okay, if you're using the same word over and over and over again, that's not a rhyme. That's just repetition of a word. And so, identical rhymes are different words technically, but they sound the same. Okay, and then I rhymes are similar spellings but different pronunciation. So like through and though, and laughter and daughter and home and come. So these are different types of rhymes. They look like they should rhyme, but they don't. So they're I rhymes. Okay. And then the other thing, the one that's a little bit more important on this lesson, is the rhyme scheme. So you're going to use the alphabet to note patterns. You change the letter when you're measuring this for every new rhyme. So you'll see here I have A, and I've gone and color coded and underlined. So, and this, by the way, is Nice, as in the town in France. So there was a young lady of Nice who insisted on bathing in Greece. She slid through the house, tormenting her spouse till he hid in the oven for peace. So this is a limerick, and limericks always go by A. It always goes rhyme, different rhyme, and then that other rhyme, and then back to that first rhyme. This is how all limericks go. So Nice, Greece, and peace all have the same rhyme, so they all get the same notation. House and spouse, same rhyme. There's your notation. Okay, so every time you change your rhyme, you also change the letter. And then if your rhyme goes back to that letter, then you also identify it by that letter. You don't start, this doesn't end up being C. You go back to the fact that it's A, all right? So here is one of the most famous poems in all the world, and this is Sonnet 18 by Shakespeare. Sonnets have a very distinct rhyme pattern. There are always 14 lines, and it always goes A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. That's how you know it's a sonnet. And being able to identify something as a sonnet is something that you will need for your more advanced classes, AP, that kind of stuff. You want to be able to say, that's a sonnet. I can look at that, see the rhyme scheme, see that there's 14 lines, bam, sonnet. So, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Just happens to be the first one, so it happens to be A, but thou art more lovely and more temperate. Well, it's a different word, so it has a different letter. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. May and day rhyme together, so that's A and A. And summer's lease hath all too short a date. Now, you'll see it's like temperate and date don't rhyme now, but when it was Shakespeare's day, the way they pronounced the two words, they did rhyme. So we're going to go ahead and excuse that here and say, yes, it's same rhyme. It's a B, okay? Modern rhymes should not have this issue, but again, Shakespeare's day of temperate versus shorted it, okay, or however it was pronounced. So, sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines. Oop, new word, new rhyme. There's C. And often is his gold complexion dimmed. New word. There's D. And every fair from fair sometime declines. Well, that rhymes with shines, so that goes back to C again. By chance or nature's changing course, untrimmed. Well, dimmed and trimmed. There you go. All right, D and D. All right, but thy eternal summer shall not fade. New word, new letter. So new rhyme. There you go. Nor lose possession of that fair that thou owest. Okay, ost. All right, that's new. So with F. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade. Shade rhymes with fade. So it gets identified with the E letter. When in internal lines to time thou growest. Growest, oest. Okay, that rhymes. Bring it back to that F. And then so long as men can breathe or eyes can see. New word, new rhyme. There's G. So long lives this, and this gives life to thee. The C rhyme. So it gets the same letter. So every time you see, if there was another line that came afterward and it had a word that rhymed with day, like stay or play, you would go back and put A on that one, even if it was way down here in a brand new line and a brand new thing. You'd still go back because you've already identified that day has it as, and anything that rhymes with day will get that A notation. Okay. So that's how you identify a rhyme scheme when you're looking at a poem. A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. That's a sonnet. 14 lines. That's the rhyme scheme. Okay, but any poem can have a rhyme scheme and it doesn't have to be A, B, A, B. It can be like A, B, C, C, A, B, B, B. It can be any scheme. Who knows? Although that was a wonky, example, but here we go. So this next one is going to be your turn. I'm going to hopefully have you pause and try to identify the types and scheme of this poem. So pause. All right, so hoping that you paused and you did a little bit of work to see your identifications and everything here. All right, so we have The Life of a Cupcake by Shelby Greer. It's a very recent poem. I thought it was cute. They put me in the oven to bake, me, a deprived and miserable cake. Feeling the heat, I started to bubble. Watching the others, I knew I was in trouble. They opened the door and I started my life, frosting me with a silver knife, decorating me with candy jewels. The rest of my batch looked like fools. Lifting me up, she took off my wrapper. Feeling the breeze, I wanted to slap her. Opening her mouth with shiny teeth inside, this was the day this cupcake died. Okay, so here we go. We have bake and we have cake. All right. First of all, these are single rhymes. All right. They're single because they only have the one syllable. So it's not a double rhyme and they're single and they're cake, and bake. All right, so they're A. We're going to go ahead and say A. Those are A's. All right, then, there we go. Feeling the heat, I started to bubble. Watching the others, I knew I was in trouble. Now, this one is double. It's a double rhyme because it's trouble, bubble. It has both the syllable that's next to last syllable also rhymes, but it's also a new rhyme, so it gets B, right? They opened the door and I started my life. All right, new rhyme, right? Okay, so that's going to be C. Frosting me with a silver knife. All right. Letter C. Decorating me with candy jewels. The rest of my batch look like fools. Now, while this is a single rhyme, and this is a double rhyme, and this is a single rhyme, this is an imperfect rhyme because this is just one. This would be a single, but this is double because of jewels, fools, jewels. It's not an exact rhyme. It still does the rhyming issue, but it's imperfect. So we're going to take a moment and highlight that and say it's just a little wonky, right? So this is an imperfect rhyme. It's not perfectly situated because the jewels versus fools. This is two syllables, this is one. That's important to know. Lifting me up, she took off my wrapper. All right, new rhyme there. Okay. Feeling the breeze, I wanted to slap her. Oop, two words making a rhyme. Again, this is imperfect. Okay, now in terms of the rhyme and the thing, rapper, and slapper, the syllables are similar, but because this is one word and this is two, that's an imperfect one, right? So we're going to take a moment and we're going to highlight this little different one. And I'm going to highlight that differently. There you go. And then opening her mouth with shiny teeth inside. Okay, different rhyme scheme now. Was the day this cupcake died. All right, there we go. Now, again, is this a solid rhyme or is this imperfect? This is actually a solid single rhyme because inside that last stress right there. So technically this part, technically that first part doesn't need to be underlined because it's not really part of the rhyme, is it? It's inside and died. It's the last syllable. So this is actually a good rhyme, even though this is two syllables. It's the last syllable that's important. Remember the examples over here on the same stress on the last syllable. See, we had two syllable words here, okay? But because it was the last syllable, that's why that worked. So when you're looking at these, you want to take a look at them and see how you're doing on that. But notice now we've identified the rhyme scheme as A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, F. And that's how this one goes. So if you have questions, please let me know. And I hope this helped you understand rhyme. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a good day.